She'll pull up. Here's a three. She's got it. She got it back. That'll be her 8th rebound. She's got it in a foul. Mitchell getting inside. Mitchell lays it in. Goes back to work and lays it in off the glass. Vivian spots free, and Vivian knocks it down.
What an effort by Danielle Robinson. There you go, Big T.
From Indianapolis this afternoon, it's a Saturday matinee as the Indiana Fever look to avoid the season sweep from the Connecticut Sun, who have won 4 straight and are the hottest team in the WNBA. It's the Fever and the Sun for the final time this season. WNBA basketball this afternoon from Indiana Farmers Coliseum. And we welcome you inside the fairgrounds this afternoon alongside Bria Goss. I'm Pat Boylan. This is the second game in 3 days between Indiana and Connecticut. The Sun got the better of Indiana on Thursday, and one trend that we have seen emerge around the WNBA, well, it's been tough for teams to keep up with the Joneses. Brianna and Jonquel, this Connecticut front court combines for 37 points per game, while Jonquel is perhaps the MVP favorite at this point in the season, Bria. It was Brianna who shined the brightest on Thursday, a career-high 34 points.
Yeah, Brianna Jones was able to get in there and just dominate positions early. She set the standard so early. She was able to get in there, get the boards, hit all these open shots. One of the big things that the Fever really need to key in is just making sure that they establish that presence early and just make her uncomfortable as she can.
Those 34 points match the most in franchise history for Connecticut in a regular season game. It was a story of 2 very different halves for Indiana on Thursday, really struggling in the first half, got down by 18. They actually outscored Connecticut by 12 points in the second half, and Marianne Stanley was most pleased with Indiana's ability to take care of the ball.
Yeah, especially in that second half. I think that first half they were a little rushed, couldn't really handle that pressure early, but they did a really good job just adjusting. Those easy turnovers really led to really easy baskets for Connecticut. They just, are able to cut those down. I think the Fever will have a better chance today.
Indiana was outscored by 13 points off the turnover on the night in a 6-point game. Might have been the biggest difference maker on Thursday. Well, Kelsey Mitchell continues to shoulder a majority of the offensive load for Indiana. Now, she was held scoreless in the first half a couple games ago against Dallas, but she's really been tremendous ever since the last game and a half. And Indiana almost certainly going to need her at a high level today.
Yeah, these last 3 halves that she has played is just a completely different Kelsey Mitchell than we've seen all season. I think she's really just finding her rhythm. She's a lot better on defense. I think she's taking some really, really high-level shots that she knows she can make. Kelsey Mitchell, I'm so excited to see how the rest of the season goes out for her.
And she is climbing up the scoring ladder in the WNBA, now up to 14th in scoring in the league. Indiana looking to get back in the win column here this afternoon and snap Connecticut's league-high 4-game winning streak. We have the starting lineups coming up next. Indiana Fever basketball is brought to you by Ascension St. Vincent, listening to you, caring for you. And by Ortho Indy, official orthopedic provider of the Indiana Fever. It's the Fever and the Sun here this afternoon. We've got the starting lineups and the opening tip when we return from Indianapolis. It's the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun from Indianapolis here this afternoon. The second game in 3 days and the final game between these 2 teams this season, as Indiana looks to salvage the third and final game of this season series. We take a look at the starting lineups here this afternoon. Brianna Jones off that career-high 34-point performance. Brianna January, the former Fever guard, getting the start as well for Connecticut. And for Indiana, we see Bernadette Hattar back in the middle. She makes the second start of her career. Worth noting, Jessica Breland is available to Marianne Stanley here today. Breland missed her first game of her season with an ankle injury on Thursday.
Yeah, she could be a huge help, I think, to this team. Just being able to get out there and kind of give a more athletic standpoint to that post play. I'm really excited to see how she can come out, God willing, if she's able to play.
Indiana Fever head coach is Marianne Stanley. She's in her second year leading the Fever. Spent a couple years as the head coach in Washington and then a decade under Mike Tebow with the Mystics. She is a member of the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. And there's been no coach that has won more over the last 5 years than Curt Miller, who's in his 6th season at the helm in Connecticut. Also coached in the college ranks at Indiana University and at Bowling Green as well. The 2017 Coach of the Year. It's Bernadette Hattar and Jonquel Jones to tip things off. It's the Indiana Fever and Connecticut Sun. Connecticut with the league's 4th-ranked offense. They were a little bit unhappy with their defensive performance back on Thursday night's game as the MVP candidate Jonquel Jones gets the Sun on the board with a step back.
That's such a unique move coming from a player as versatile as Jonquel Jones. As tall as she is, you don't see that too often here in the WNBA.
Jonquel Jones is 2nd in the league in scoring, 1st in rebounding. Until Lavender, who set a career high in assists with 6 on Thursday in post. Bernadette Hattar, her turnaround jump shot won't fall. And a shot clock violation for Indiana on their first possession. Curt Miller saying he was not happy with their defensive effort, worried a bit about fatigue. This is Connecticut's 4th game in 7 nights. And Indiana, who had not scored 80 points since the opener, did reach that 80-point threshold on Thursday. Something to watch here tonight. Luana Bonner in her 2nd year in Connecticut. Named an All-Star for the 4th time this year. Here is the first look for Brianna Jones. Couldn't finish inside, and Robinson has the rebound for Indiana. Kelsey Mitchell coming off back-to-back 20-point nights for the Fever. Her first back-to-back 20-point efforts of the season. That 3-point shot has been a challenge for Indiana all season long. They've been outshot from distance every game this year. Connecticut Sun team at 12-5, the 3rd best record in the WNBA, but they are 10-2 when they've had Jonquel Jones available. She missed 5 games this season playing in Eurobasket. That pass off target and intercepted by Hattar. Mitchell runs into a double team. That's Tiffany Mitchell. He starts in the backcourt with Kelsey. Lavender lofts it inside to Hattar. Shot clock down to 5. Hattar working on Jones, and Hattar gets it to go.
You know, Pat, we always talk about the importance of, coming out focused, ready to go, a hot start. And even though those first 2 possessions for the Fever, it still looks like they're still untuned from the previous, on Thursday night. And just a really good offensive movement.
Jones will bounce inside to Thomas. January works it around to Bonner. Shot fakes the 3. Shot clock down to 1. Bonner has to heave. A nice defensive possession there for Indiana. Kelsey Mitchell with 21 points on Thursday night. Creeping her way up the scoring charts. Now up to 14 as there's a foul off the ball, I think. And Tiffany Mitchell hits a 3. They caught Luana Bonner on the foul there. So it was Bonner trying to fight through that Hattar screen. So the Mitchell 3-point field goal is good. And I believe they'll send Hattar to the line here. Officials sort things out. Michael Price, Jeffrey Smith, and Kevin Spirak are your officials here this afternoon from Indianapolis. And welcome in our audience watching on NBA TV. Bernadette Hattar at 6'10" is the tallest player in the WNBA, the rookie out of Hungary. Making her 2nd start of her WNBA career in her rookie season. Thomas from the mid-range, and Jasmine Thomas gets that one to go. Thomas, their 4th leading scorer at over 12 points per game, but their leading assister, Thomas, averages over 4 per game. Mitchell is fouled by Bonner, and a couple quick fouls on the All-Star Bonner.
One of the best things about this Connecticut Sun team is, I mean, you mentioned she's the 4th best scorer on her team, and that's 12 points a game. You know, you don't see that too often here in the WNBA, and I just think that just makes them so unique.
Rion January has the defensive assignment on Mitchell. She did a nice job in the first half. Held her to 8 points on Thursday. Mitchell was able to get going in the second half as Thomas is fouled by Robinson. This Indiana defense ranks last in the WNBA, and it's a constant point of focus for Marianne Stanley. So far, not a bad start. They've held Connecticut here to just a couple made buckets. Jones trying to spin on Attar. This is Brianna Jones, defended by Lavender. Jones gets the foul and the bucket.
Wow, I don't think they could have done a better job defensively right there. That was such a strong move by Brianna Jones, just kind of finishing through and just kind of keeping her head, keeping the poise.
Brianna Jones, who is now up to 16 points per game, having a breakout year 4, was named an All-Star for the first time in her career. Those 34 points matched DeWanna Bonner and Courtney Williams for the most in Connecticut Sun history. It's Kurt Miller in his 6th season saying he was really proud of Brianna Jones and what she's been able to bring this year. The team was in an airport and broke out in cheers when they found out that Jones was named an All-Star for the first time this season. Mitchell pulls up. Attar with the offensive rebound, blocked there by Jones. Kelsey Mitchell has not taken a shot this afternoon. You see her get a lot of the defensive attention. She shovels it up there and draws the foul. That is already the 3rd foul here on Connecticut, just a little over 4 minutes in.
That downhill with both Mitchells. Here it is, Kelsey Mitchell. You know, once they get that first step on you, that's so hard to recover, and it's such a high percentage shot, whether she's going to make it, get the and-one, or just get the foul and hit these 2 free throws.
Mitchell is an 83% foul shooter, misses the first. She is 2 points shy of Shavonte Zealous for 7th all-time in Fever history. Rare empty trip there for Mitchell. Jones is lethal. Jonquel from the perimeter as well. Brianna lost the handle there. And Connecticut turns it over here for the 3rd time in the first quarter. Talked about it in the open. Marianne Stanley wanting to cut down the turnovers from Indiana's perspective. People were outscored off of that turnover by 13 points on Thursday in a game they lost by 6. Stanley felt like that really was the difference maker. Indiana did a much better job in that category in the second half. Attar finds some space, not afraid to let it fly from out there.
There's Big Ben. Like you said, the 2nd start of her rookie career, and I think both of these games, offensively and defensively, she's just able to bring so much to the game. As you can see, that's usually typically an easy shot, but you know, big 6'10" is down there. That makes it tough.
Indiana in transition. Tiffany Mitchell couldn't finish. Attar gets a hand in there, knocks it away from Jones. It'll stay here with Connecticut. We are even at 7 midway through the first from Indianapolis. Penny Attar getting her 2nd start of the season. Indiana looking to snap a 12-game losing streak here this afternoon against Connecticut. As Tierra McCowan has checked in to defend Jones, who muscles her way in. Jones can't finish, gets the offensive rebound. Jonquel and Tierra McCowan are 2 of the top rebounders in the WNBA. Fever have opened up 3 of 9 from the floor. And off their highest output offensively since the opener, as Robinson's corner 3 won't go. Jones steps into a 3 and leaves that one short. Jones is lethal from out there, nearly 50% from the three-point line as Robinson on the drive rolls it in.
Wow, and what a great screen at the top of the key. Breland got down there, recognized she wasn't going to get the ball, so she went ahead and did this unselfish thing to do, which was to set that screen for her teammate to get to the bucket. Robinson. I think it's such an important part of the game when Breland's in there, just being able to, bring her offensive style, defensive style as well.
Jones on the roll, got by Mitchell. And Jonquel Jones has her second bucket of the afternoon. Danielle Robinson saying she's looking to be more aggressive. She feels like her ability to get into the paint is part of the equation for Indiana to improve on the three-point line. And just not beating enough players off their dribble, according to Robinson. And a low-scoring first quarter here so far from the fairgrounds as Breland gets fouled by Jones. And that's the second on Jonquel Jones. So Bonner has 2 and Jones has 2. Jonquel dealt with a little foul trouble on Thursday night as well. And this is where Danielle Robinson at her best in transition.
Man, just being able to recognize early, that's that chemistry I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, just that's what she likes to do. Breland recognized that early, and she went ahead and was on attack.
Jessica Breland, who missed her first game of the season on Thursday, hits the first free throw. Just 54% from the line this season. That's actually a career low, but Breland really a versatile defender. And with all the versatility that Connecticut has in the front court, you really felt like you missed her on Thursday.
Definitely missed her. I think they only lost by 6 points. That really, along with those turnovers, I think she was a big part of that success level too.
Jones couldn't handle it underneath. Connecticut's turned it over here 4 times in the first quarter. Indiana has not turned it over yet. Marianne Stanley has to like that as Breland nearly had it knocked away by January. Now McCowan down on the floor. Jones gets in there to force the jump ball. Jonquel Jones is the leading rebounder in the WNBA. But if you look at rebounds per minute on the floor, Tierra McCowan is second. She's not playing quite as many minutes as Jones or some of the top centers in this league, but when she's on the floor, as impactful as any big in this league on the glass. Mitchell with a shot clock down to 6. January hounding her. Mitchell through a triple team. Sets up a Robinson 3. Well, you don't see Robinson shoot many from out there. She's already fired 3 from distance this year. Perimeter game is not typically where you see her take her most shots. In fact, she's made just 22 threes in her career, 5 this season. Taking about 1 3 per game entering tonight, but Connecticut clearly giving her that shot. Robinson feels like when she's open out there, she's got to take it, prove she can knock it down.
Yeah, absolutely. And just being able to have that confidence that, even though you missed the last 3, you're going to hit the next 3.
Jones, the hesitation, the shot fake, the bucket, and a foul for Jonquel Jones. There was 6 points here in the first quarter. Such a difficult post player to defend. She's got an array of moves. And that's the second foul on Breland in just 2 minutes on the floor.
Yeah, she certainly knows how to use her body. She was able to pump fake, get Breland up in the air, and go right into it and get the and one.
Lindsay Allen has checked in for Indiana. She's 3rd in the league in assist-to-turnover ratio. Here's Mitchell finding some space off the screen, and we had a whistle. Which way is it going to go against Indiana? A moving screen, and they caught Breland for that. So 3 fouls here on Breland. in less than 3 minutes. You see the Breland shoulder check there on Breon January. So Breland, who Indiana was so thrilled to get back here after not having her on Thursday, has to take a seat with 3 fouls coming off the bench this afternoon. Jones has the mismatch on Tiffany Mitchell. Jones, the fadeaway. Now it's Kelsey running the floor. Kelsey into the teeth of the defense. And Kelsey Mitchell will go to the line for 2 more free throws. She missed both of her free throw attempts from there on her previous trip. Whether it's Kelsey Mitchell, Danielle Robinson, these type of situations, really what Marion Stanley is trying to dial more up of them. And that starts on the defensive end, according to Stanley. Indiana need to get more stops to get out in transition, kind of force their offense into some easier looks.
And I think that's such a huge part of their game as well. Just being able to get, 2 or 3 easy buckets that kind of transpire into fouls and ones, which kind of gets the crowd going. It's just everything is so in tune when you are able to get those easy buckets on the offensive end.
Tisha Heidemann, the third-year pro out of Marquette, has checked in here off the bench as Jones turns, faces, and hits. And it was her ability to extend that range out to the mid-range on Thursday, which allowed her to acquire a career-high 34-point night. Chelsea Perry has checked in. And a whistle on the floor as McCowan was battling with Jones underneath. So a couple fouls early on Bonner. John Quells picked up 2. And that was the first on Brianna Jones. So Connecticut dealing with a little bit of early foul trouble. And Tia McCowan will go to the line. She's a 63% free throw shooter. Indiana has left some points at the stripe here so far. Just 4 of 8 from the free throw line. Heidemann on the drive, gets inside, bank shot won't fall. Heidemann gets her own offensive rebound. She'll dish it to Jones. Brianna Jones can't connect. McCowan goes to the floor, no call.
If you're Marion Stanley, I think you would be pleased with this Fever team right now. Even though there's only 14 points up on the board and they're up by 1, I think they're playing pretty well and kind of getting the sun out of their rhythm.
Perry driving on Jonquel Jones, not afraid to take it at her. McCowan on the putback. She couldn't finish either. Indiana just 4 of 15 from the floor, shooting just 27%, but they've got a lead here in the first quarter. Kind of the opposite of what we saw on Thursday, where the Fever shot it well, but we're down by double digits for most of the night. Good ball movement around to Heidemann, and her 3 will drop with under a second left in the first quarter. Vivians just needs to get it in. And we are through 1 from Indiana Farmers Coliseum. Connecticut with that 2-point lead. We are through 1 between Indiana and Connecticut. WNBA basketball from Indianapolis. From Indianapolis as the Connecticut Sun lead Indiana by 2 after 1. There's Big Glenn, one of our diehard fans. You can always notice him by the Boas. He comes to nearly every Indiana Fever and every Indiana Pacer game. 16 points by Connecticut, match the fewest they've scored in a first quarter this year. Indiana shooting just 27% as a Perry 3 won't fall, but the putback is there from McCowan.
We've seen it time and time again, Pat. That is one of her biggest strengths, just being able to get position down there early. As soon as the shot goes up, she's already battling with the post and just an easy putback. Good job, big team.
Indiana's already taken 7 shots from the 3-point line. They've hit just 1 of them as Jones has an answer on the other end. Brianna Jones with a game-high 7 points. There Terry looking backdoor from Mitchell, who spins inside, flips it in, and an athletic finish there for Kelsey Mitchell.
Man, she just made that look so easy. I've tried that before, Pat. That ain't easy.
Mitchell, the second all-time leading scorer in college basketball history, has brought that pure scoring ability here to the WNBA. It's her 4th season. Jones spinning. That one won't fall. And a loose ball foul will go against Indiana. Now, it's interesting, Mitchell's scoring numbers are down just a little bit this season compared to last year. She's actually shooting the exact same percentage inside the three-point line, right at 50%, which is where she was last year. It's been that three-point shot she's still hoping she'll be able to bring along this year. At a career-low 30% from the three-point line is Kelsey. Part of that's been she didn't have Julie Alamon with her, and the Fever have struggled to find alternative weapons on the perimeter, so teams are able to really focus in on Mitchell. Jones with a shot clock down to 3. Jones is swarmed. Heidemann will have to fire. Victoria Vivians is checked into the game here for the first time. Vivians will pull up and hit a deep 2.
Wow, she was looking and looking to see who she's going to pass it to, and then, oh, she's open. Why not hit that little long 3, or sorry, long 2.
It's been quite a battle between Jones and McCowan in the post. Indiana able to force the turnover. That's the 3rd turnover that Jones has had here in the first half. Allen lofting it in for McCowan. Good position. McCowan will draw the foul. They said Charles reached in. This will already be free throws 10 and 11 for Indiana. Connecticut has taken just 2. Indiana, though, hasn't cashed in as much as they'd like. The Fever are just 5 of 9 from the line. Indiana now hitting just 50% of their foul shots. On Thursday night, Connecticut got to the line more than Indiana and out-rebounded Indiana. The Fever winning both of those categories here in the early going. As McCowan splits the pair. Bonner, who's checked back in with those couple of fouls. Thomas, corner 3. Both teams have hit just 1 3-pointer, have been cold from the perimeter here to start this one. And this is the 4th game in 7 days for Connecticut. And the end of a 3-game road trip as Allen gets inside and Jones comes up with a block. Kurt Miller said he was really worried about fatigue. In fact, he canceled their team's practice on Friday night. Said just doing some film study, surprised the team by canceling practice. That Heidemann 3 won't fall.
Yeah, fatigue plays such a huge factor at such an elite level. I know that they do a great job with their recovery teams and making sure they're getting the right treatment before, after, and even sometimes during games. But, you know, it's not like we're so young, or we're not so young anymore to where the recovery time isn't always the best. So just being able to take care of your body is so important at this level.
Well, Indiana continues to attack, and Tyra McCowan will shoot her 5th and 6th free throws here. It's already the 8th foul on Connecticut in the first half and the 3rd in the second quarter. I will say that is a non-shooting foul. Kelsey Mitchell will check out here for the first time this afternoon. Has played all 13 minutes so far. Shot clock down to 1. Vivian sees it. Vivian fires. Bank shot won't fall. We've seen that shot clock wind down a few times on Indiana.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to play it throughout the whole possession, which I think is good. But just being able to recognize that time early, you know, you're going to have to start making those moves.
These two teams were shooting over 50% for most of the night on Thursday. Both under 40% here so far this afternoon as Montpremier gets the roll inside. Beatrice Montpremier, second-year forward out of Miami. Tiffany Mitchell. That three won't fall. Thomas pulls up, off-balance shot. Fever are +5 on the glass here in the early going. Allen, the hesitation cut off there by January. Difficult look. Brianna January, who played 9 years in Indiana. Fever fans know well how good of a defender she is. And a blocking foul on Vivians. I think they said she had a foot inside the semicircle there. So Connecticut will head to the line with the Fever up by 1 midway through the second. Single game tickets are on sale now for all remaining Indiana Fever home games. Visit feverbasketball.com/tickets to get yours today. The next home game is Friday, July 9th against Sabrina Ionescu and the New York Liberty. Buy one, get one free on all $13 tickets in July, thanks to Salesforce. feverbasketball.com/tickets is where you can purchase those. Indiana in the middle of a stretch of 8 out of 9 at home. We'll close out on the road then in Atlanta before hitting that Olympic break. Open up on the road when they come out of it. Thomas fires a three. That won't fall. Connecticut 1 of 6 from out there. The Fever are just 1 of 8.
You know, they're getting some really good looks and sharing the ball, doing all the little things, making the extra pass, but they just cannot knock that three down.
As Vivians fires a deep three off target. I wonder if that was part of Indiana's game plan between the 2 games on Thursday and Saturday. It really looks like the Fever are trying to get more looks from the three-point line. They're just not falling.
Yeah, and even on defense, too, every ball screen, they're doing something called a triple switch, where the big will go into the guard goes into the big, and then another big will kind of come out, and the guard has to rush to the opposite side. And that's why they're getting such great looks as DeWanna Bonner knocks that down.
DeWanna Bonner, who picked up those early 2 fouls. That's her first scoring here on the afternoon. Indiana just 28% from the field. Inside to McCowan, turning on Montpremier, and McCowan rolls it in.
That's a great move by Big T and a great entry pass by Tiffany Mitchell to see the post open.
McCowan with 6 points, 4 rebounds here in the first half. And Jones is fouled on the entry pass. And you can get McCowan in these type of positions. Indiana has a lot of success.
Yeah, established great position early, and I'm surprised that there was no help on that backside. She had the whole rest of the lane to do that move.
Well, it's amazing how about 36 hours between games, and you have such a remarkably different product on the floor. These 2 teams were flying up and down the floor in the first half, matching each other shot for shot. There was one point where the Fever were shooting 55% and trailing by double digits on Thursday. Indiana right now is shooting 31% from the field and leading.
Up 1. That is, I don't know, I've never seen that before, but when those legs, when they say they're tired, they are tired. And you just have to play that mental game to get it back in.
Fever are doing a nice job of getting to the line. They're +6 on the glass. Jonquel Jones with 6 in the first half, just muscles her way inside. They really are treated to quite the battle in the front court here this afternoon with Jonquel, Brianna Jones, Tierra McCowan, Jessica Breel, and a whole lot of talent in that front court as Indiana looks back the way of McCowan. That time she can't finish. Montpremier pulls down the rebound. Bonner, spot up 3. Here's Robinson pulling up from the foul line. I just kind of get the sense the first team that gets their 3-point shot going might be the one that starts to pull away a little bit here. Both teams have been ice cold from the perimeter as Jones puts on the moves. Timeout by Breon January and Connecticut. Jonquel Jones with 8 points in the first half. Indiana, though, making her work. Shop for the newest jerseys, hats, and T-shirts while repping your favorite players at feverteamstore.com. And don't miss today's game night special. Get a Fever Brush Mini Basketball for just $10. Get the game night special and check out all the great Fever gear available every day at feverteamstore.com. These teams searching for offense here in the first half. Satar is checked back in. She wraps it around to McCowan, who lost the handle. Indiana, though, has turned it over just 3 times here in the first half, taking much better care of the ball than they did in the first half on Thursday.
Yeah, it really looks like this Fever team really just kind of calmed down, watched the film, saw what was working and what wasn't, and made those adjustments.
Here's the head coach, Kurt Miller. Chris Koplanis and Brandy Poole are his assistants. That's Brandy over his left shoulder, Chris to the right. Refs are dealing with a clock malfunction. Indiana's defense, which gives up 88 points per game, has held Connecticut to just 24 here as we near in on halftime. So a lot to like on that side of the floor if you're Marianne Stanley.
Especially with the team so versatile as the Connecticut Sun.
As Jones powers her way inside, no whistle, a lot of contact both ways. Robinson running the floor. There's Hatar with the finish.
What a great run. That's just a rim runner all day. You know, I know this is an early game, so I'm pretty sure her family back at home are loving this performance by Big Bet.
Hatar from Hungary. She said her family tunes in every night, even when it is in the wee hours of the morning.
Wow.
They are 7-8 hours ahead or so there in Hungary. She made the trip over to the U.S. for the first time in her life to play for the Fever this year. And Kelsey Mitchell said Bernadette surprises people with how quick she is. Not often do you have a player of her size that's as quick as Betty is.
Yeah, able to move. I mean, just as soon as she saw that the Fever had that ball, she put her head down and just moved. I don't even think she knew where the ball was until the ball was coming to her hand. That was just a great rim run, great footwork.
First assist of the afternoon for Robinson, who's coming off a season high of 7 on Thursday. Jones 1 of 2 from the line, but Brianna right there for the putback. And a 3-point play for the Sun. This has been a really tightly contested game here so far. Neither team has led by more than 3 points. Both teams spent a lot of time focusing on defense on Friday. Hatar spinning on Jones, lost the handle. Bonner wide open, thought about the 3, instead will drive in, collides with Robinson, and a blocking foul is the call. I think similar to that Victoria Vivian's play. They ruled that Robinson was in the semicircle. Tiffany Mitchell slow to get up for Indiana. Mitchell has been so consistent for the Fever, double digits in every game since May turned to June.
A little rub screen there. Didn't look like there was much communication on that defensive end, which didn't give the heads up to Tiffany as she kind of slammed into Jonquel Jones.
Luana Bonner heads to the line here for the first time. Bonner is an 87% free throw shooter, was selected as an all-star for the fourth time in her career. Bonner and Courtney Williams, the only players in the WNBA who are top 15 in points, assists, and rebounds. This is the largest lead either team has had in the first 2 quarters. Mitchell with 4 in the first half. Puts up a tough shot there, and Jones got a piece of it. This is Jonquel Jones, draws the double team inside, kick out January. Brianna Jones spinning on Hattar and got fouled as McCowan came in to help. And Hattar comes up holding her midsection. Hattar has dealt with injuries this year, missed 9 games with a foot injury.
Brianna Jones does such a good job, you know, jabbing, getting through the defense, and even she almost made the shot. I think she does a really good job, kind of her face-up game.
Both teams struggling from the foul line as well, not just from the field. Indiana shooting 55% from the line, Connecticut 57%. Indiana's missed 4 free throws. Connecticut's missed 4 as well. About a second between the clocks. As Indiana has been held scoreless here for the final 2 minutes in the first half. Jones fading on Hattar. McCowan pulls down the rebound. Robinson through traffic draws the foul on Thomas. Jasmine Thomas, the 11-year vet, rarely makes a play like that. But Thomas is called for the foul with less than a second to go in the half, and instead Danielle Robinson will take a couple of free throws. In fact, they'll say that was shooting. So 3 free throws here for Robinson. Indiana, who had scored just 2 points over a 4-minute stretch before this, will gladly take the free throws headed into the half.
Such a smart play by D-Rob, just kind of getting downhill and even kind of creating the contact for her to get, you know, the opportunity to shoot 3 free throws right here.
And the 89%er drills all 3. And it's a 1-point lead for Connecticut as we hit the half. A low-scoring first half here from Indianapolis, but the Fever will take it, trailing Connecticut by just 1 after 2. Ready for the third quarter of action here from Indianapolis. The Indiana Fever looking to earn their 2nd win of the season. Connecticut, one of the title contenders in the WNBA, but the Fever within a point as we get ready here for the third quarter. If you are Marianne Stanley, what's the conversation there at halftime as you look to get your offense going, Bria?
Well, one, they definitely did a great job on the turnovers. I think they should really go ahead and keep that up. I think on the intensity on the defense level is really good. I think just being able to go out there, find that open shot, hit that open shot, just kind of get this crowd involved. They're already doing the little things right. Just got to capitalize on it now.
Indiana's leading scorers came in the front court. Bernadette Hattar and Tierra McCowan, each with 6 points in that first half. Hattar's 5 rebounds match her career high. And in the front court for Connecticut as well, Brianna Jones and Jonquel Jones, each scoring 9 in that first half. Kelsey Mitchell has been strong in second halves here lately, had 24 against Dallas 2 games ago, and then had 13 on Thursday nights. And this has been a trend that Fever have liked here. Connecticut getting into some foul trouble, piling up the fouls early in quarters.
Yeah, Thomas had to actually, she's in a little bit of foul trouble right now. Instead of guarding the best player, Kelsey Mitchell, she'd have to go off and have Brianna January see if she can slow her down.
Tough shot there for Lavender to open up the third quarter. Jantel Lavender scoreless in 8 minutes. Jessica Breland returning from that knee injury, but played just 3 minutes in the first half because of foul trouble, as DeWanna Bonner drives and gets fouled. Bernadette Hattar picks up her third. We talk so much about Jonquel and Brianna Jones and what they're capable of. This is DeWanna Bonner, a 4-time All-Star and capable of filling up the stat sheet as well. Talked with Kurt Miller before the game, and he said that third emerging offensive presence in Brianna Jones really gives him a lot of hope for what this team can accomplish this year. The difference between having a couple of stars in Bonner and Jonquel Jones, and then what Brianna Jones adds to that mix, really he feels like could be the difference maker for them. Pretty optimistic in their chances as this season goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can't forget about Alyssa Thomas, who is not playing this year, but this is a great team that can score in so many different ways. And I'm actually excited to see how this kind of plays out for them in the long run.
He said he was, Kurt, a little bit surprised as Jones comes up with a block and a foul. So there's the third foul on Jonquel Jones. Kurt Miller said he was a little bit surprised how quickly this team gelled together. They won their first 5 games of the season, and I think you can give Jonquel Jones probably the most credit for that. She came out absolutely firing. And they missed her for 5 games as she played for Bosnia in Eurobasket. Just look at their record with her, 10-2. They went 2-3 without her. So if they have her the rest of the way, that 10-2 record is a better winning percentage than any team in the WNBA has this year. Hattar knocks down the free throws. Indiana has already taken 16 shots from the line. Jones on the drive, gets ahead of steam and lays it in. Jones now with 11 points. So dangerous on that attack. A defensive 3 seconds being called on Brianna Jones.
What a great pass by Bonner. She kind of went through the defense there, led the pass. Nice little one dribble, hard layup for Jonquel Jones. That's a great play.
Mitchell will shoot the technical free throw and hit it. But it's an interesting decision who shoots that free throw, because by percentages, Danielle Robinson is the best free throw shooter that the Fever have, and Tiffany Mitchell is right behind her. But when you're trying to get Kelsey Mitchell going, maybe there's something to actually letting her take it, see the ball go through the rim, and perhaps that can pay dividends here in the second half.
Right. You know, as a player, it's almost like a mental thing. You see that ball going one time, you might not miss a shot the rest of the game.
Danielle Robinson gets the runner to go, and we are tied here at 33. Neither team has led by more than 4 as Jones sees the double team. Mitchell out there to meet her. Bonner couldn't get off that 3-point shot. Good defense by Tiffany Mitchell. Shot clock down to 7. Bonner on the drive. Bonner put that one up too strong. Hattar gets a hand in there and knocks it away from Bonner.
It's a great defensive possession.
Mitchell, open 3. Just left it a little short. It's their first 3-point attempt on the night. Indiana's taken 10. Indiana really swarming the post down there. You see that work with Kelsey Mitchell. She almost turns into that second post defender. And then you really have to rotate around the perimeter too to allow that to happen.
Yeah, I think you said it best, swarm. You know, she saw that there was a size advantage, and her teammates just came and just tried to help her out there.
Thomas trying to get by Hattar. The length of Hattar made that shot difficult. Mitchell thought about pulling it out and then went right by Jones for the reverse. Oh, the little okey-doke from Tiffany Mitchell as Indiana has gone back in front here early in the third. haven't seen many runs this afternoon, but a little 5-0 burst by Indiana. Led by Tiffany Mitchell has put the Fever back in front here for the first time in the third quarter. The defenses have ruled so far as Jones sees the double. Tough look and gets the foul call. Will Jones with 11 points. She and Brianna have combined here for 20. Compare that to Thursday night when the two Joneses scored 53. You know Jonquel is going to fill up that stat sheet almost every single night, but there's a difference between if you can hold her somewhere in the teens, in the early 20s, to some of the nights we've seen her have here so far this season where she's been up into the upper 20s and into the 30s.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the big things is the type of player that she is. You know, anywhere below her average is going to be a good night for the Fever.
She scores 22 points per game. That's second best in the WNBA. Jones is a good free throw shooter as well. She's missed 3 free throws today. Very uncustomary. Lavender tried to toss it in there. There was just no open space. Jonquel took that one away. Thomas, an open three. Both teams have hit just 1 3-pointer here so far. The two teams are combined 2 of 18 from the 3-point line. As Robinson steps into a 2 and buries it.
Man, that's just going back to off-season chair moves. That was just so fluent. That looked really good by D-Rob.
Bonner on the drive, drops it back for Jones. Jones leaves it short. Bonner got the rebound and contorts her body, able to finish inside. That is the 5th offensive rebound for Connecticut. Indiana has 6. And the Sun will take a timeout as the Fever holding on to a 1-point lead. DeWanna Bonner with 8 points off of that putback. Marianne Stanley has long been preaching defensive improvements, specifically in the transition game. She's gotten it here tonight. This Connecticut team is the best in the WNBA in rebounding. That's just their 5th offensive rebound on that Bonner putback. She felt like she was fouled. Indiana's actually +5 on the glass here this afternoon, and the Fever are a good rebounding team as well. Indiana, the 4th best rebounding team in the WNBA, but whenever you are out rebounding a team with the front court of Connecticut, you're doing a really nice job on the glass. And Tierra McCowan, who's come in, got 7 boards in 15 minutes, has led that group.
Damn, 15 minutes. That's impressive for Big T, because you know we've seen her in the past just kind of get into a little bit of a slump, and she might not be scoring, which kind of means that she's not going to really be rebounding all that well. But here it really looks like since they pulled her out of that starting lineup, I think she just has a different focus. Every time she steps on the floor, she's thinking, okay, how can I help this team? And I really think that's the maturity of Big T.
We've had a tight one so far. We want to welcome in our audience watching here this afternoon on NBA TV. The Indiana Fever looking for their 2nd win of the season, and they have certainly been trending in the right direction over their last 7 games. Indiana has been in most of them in the second half. They've just not been able to get over the hump. Their schedule's been really difficult too. After today, the Fever will have played 8 of their 9 games against the top 3 teams in the WNBA. That's Seattle, Las Vegas, and Connecticut, and they've kind of carved out their own tiers. So all of that, of course, evens out as the season plays on. The Fever schedule certainly has been front-loaded in a lot of ways. We are now just into the second half of the season. McCowan working on Jones. That strong post move, and on a second effort, McCowan gets the bounce.
There we go. I wonder if that was what was talked about in that timeout from Marianne Stanley. She just got in there, and even though she didn't hit that first shot, you don't want to give up, and that's exactly what she didn't do.
8 points, 8 boards for Big T here so far today. As January steps into a 2 and knocks it down. Leon January at the age of 34. She played 9 seasons in Indiana, the 2nd leading scorer for the Fever. Now found a home in Connecticut each of her last 2 years after a 2-year stay in Phoenix. Mitchell working on Bonner, gets inside. Mitchell, oh, the finish, and a tough take from Tiffany.
Wow, looked like a lot of contact down there, but she was able to stay headstrong and just finish the two.
Jones has spent a lot of time in the post. She hits up Brianna, but can't get that shot to go. Fever have held Connecticut under 40% from the field. Indiana at 37% themselves. This with Kelsey Mitchell, their leading scorer, just 5 points. She'll fire from 3. That one rims out. Robinson pulls down the offensive rebound, and Robinson goes right back to the rack.
Well, looks like the crowd's getting into it. I really like the energy that the Fever is bringing right now. After 1, 2, 3 even missed shots, they're really going in there and battling strong.
But you can't leave January open for 3. She won't miss those too often. McCowan somehow comes up with a block from behind. And Tiffany Mitchell, oh, she can't finish. Jones was back there to contest. Watch Jones running up the floor. She has had a lot on her plate here over the last week. Brianna Jones battling with McCowan, who gets a piece. And they'll say Brianna touched that one last. Fever doing a nice job here, Bri, of attacking the rim.
Wow, great change of direction. She takes the contact and goes straight in. And just what a magnificent play. Robinson, she recognizes that nobody's guarding her, and just the attack that she's had all game. She goes in there, and she wants to get some too.
Robinson now the first Fever player into double digits. D-Rob with 11 to go along with 5 rebounds. Really been a complete performance by her. Done a nice job on Thomas on the other end. Dejanay Carrington getting her first minutes this afternoon. Carrington on the drive. McCowan was there to contest. McCowan has really made her presence felt on both sides of the floor as Mitchell dips inside. Lavender couldn't pull it down. A loose ball foul. They caught Jonquel Jones, which is her 4th. Jones is huddled over there. She really looks like she's fatigued, and you could certainly understand why. She went and played 5 games over in Eurobasket, came over in under 24 hours from landing, then played for Connecticut on Tuesday, played on Thursday. She didn't show the signs of that right away, but you wonder if all of that's starting to add up a little bit. And don't get me wrong, she's been terrific, as she almost always is, 12 points, but there are just a few signs that she's not quite at 100%. Oh, Big T really owning the glass right now.
Right, she is cleaning up any and everything, which kind of gives you the confidence to shoot or go in there for a layup, because you know somebody like Big T has your back there. Going in there, tough move, and that's a high percentage shot for Tiffany Mitchell. She can hit that, but just kind of knowing that her teammates there to clean it up, that's got to give you some type of support in the back of your mind.
Fever on the midst of a 13-5 run to open up what's been the largest lead today. Indiana has been able to muck it up a bit on the defensive end. So much of Connecticut's focus as well. Miller felt like his group wasn't connected like they typically are on the defensive end, and McCowan hits the first. This Connecticut team, by the way, is allowing 74 points per game, and that would be the fewest given up per game in a WNBA season if they held on to it in 5 years. So they have been very strong on that end. Now, part of this is they play at a very slow pace. They actually have the 3rd best defensive efficiency, so they haven't been the top defense in the league, but when you combine a strong defense with a slower pace, teams have really struggled to score against this Connecticut group this year. Charles driving on Mitchell, hangs and scores. And Charles, one of the 4 players from Maryland on this Connecticut roster. Miller has looked the way of the Terrapins. Vivian's off the screen. She hits a 3.
Man, she just got in the game and already is so offensively minded. She did not hesitate. She knew that ball was going up as soon as she got the ball.
Just the second three here for Indiana on the afternoon as Heineman from the elbow. That won't fall. McCowan with the rebound. Really sense the Fever have an opportunity here as Connecticut applying some pressure, up by 7. Chance to grow this lead as the third quarter winds down. Mitchell running off a litany of screens, hits the shot, and an off-ball foul. They'll take a look at it. Now Mitchell will have to have been in her shooting motion as this foul was called. So they're going to, I believe, take a look and determine if that was the fact, and we'll see if we can get a look here. There's the foul. We'll see. My guess is they might say that that foul occurred before the Kelsey Mitchell shot.
Man, and we don't really see this, particular call happening. And this, if they call it, this is the second time, because they did it with DeWanna Bonner early in the first quarter. I have only seen that happen 3 times in my career, and I've seen it twice tonight. So.
Well, your officials are Michael Price, Jeffrey Smith, and Kevin Sparak, and they will take a look at the timing of when this foul occurred. And it's important to note, too, that it's when the official makes the call. So it's not the second that Carrington makes contact with Tierra McCowan, but rather when that call is made. See Marianne Stanley just drawing up a straight line of screens for Kelsey Mitchell to run off of and try to free her guard up. Well, in live action, it looks like there's a split second between the foul and the shot. But what you don't know is when the foul call was made.
Yes.
The ball doesn't have to be in the air. Mitchell just has to be in her shooting motion. Either way, this will certainly be a foul on Connecticut. And the Fever are into the penalty. So you will see Tierra McCowan go to the line either way. The Fever will either be looking for a 3-point play or McCowan will be shooting 2, and they will wipe that Mitchell jump shot off.
And the Fever are doing a good job on just doing what works. And what works is attacking the basket. You mentioned earlier how both of the bigs just set these high picks. And as soon as they were going to, if Tierra McCowan didn't fall, she was going to roll down to that basket and try to clean it up on the boards.
Well, you talk about a duo of screens that are difficult to go through.
Yeah.
You go through a lavender screen and then you follow that up with Tierra McCowan, one of the best screen setters in the WNBA. It looks like they have wiped off that Kelsey Mitchell basket. One more look at it. That was Breland, rather, not Lavender. And it's close. I think they got that one right. So this sends McCowan to the line because the Fever are in the penalty. So McCowan will shoot the 2 free throws off of that Carrington foul. And they will wipe off those 2 points from Kelsey Mitchell. McCowan now 4 of 7 from the free throw line. That'll give her a double-double, that free throw, 10 points and 11 rebounds. Miller going with a nearly all bench lineup here. He's got 4 players on the bench on the floor. Charles, off balance look, rolls it in. Just wonder if he's feeling those effects of the fatigue. Stephanie Jones has checked in as well. She did not play. As Indiana goes backdoor, Mitchell pulls up and rattles in the bank shots.
Wow. She could have gone all the way and try to contort her body or try to get the and one, but she recognized, especially if playing under 36 hours, that she was just going to go ahead and kiss this one off the glass.
Carrington off that Jones screen gets to the rim. Stephanie Jones has learned a lot from her sister in the screen setting category, that's for sure. They are sharing the front court, by the way. Brianna Jones is on the floor as well, the lone starter. Mitchell dials up a 3. Had a couple of good looks at it. Hasn't had a 3-ball fall here today. Now 0 of 3. Jones, nice pass there from Charles. Finds some space underneath.
Now that was a great pass. Put the ball exactly where she wanted it. Anywhere to the left or the right, she probably would have been able to fumble it. Probably would have resulted in a different play.
A quick 4-0 run here for Connecticut. Has cut the Indiana lead down to 4 as we hit the final minute of the third. Mitchell starting to percolate a bit here in the second half. Cut off there by Carrington. Mitchell gonna have to get rid of it, and Robinson gets the foul call with the shot clock winding down, and they're going to have to take a look at this one too and see if the foul was called before the shot clock violation. Here's that Charles fine to Brianna Jones. There was certainly a foul there. The question is, was the shot clock at 0? And I'll tell you, in live action, I thought I heard the whistle before the horn.
Me too.
They will go back to the line. That's Kevin Spirac on the left, Michael Price on the right. Replay monitor has had plenty of use here in the last couple of minutes. We are into the second half of the WNBA season. It's a 32-game year this year. Although in a lot of ways, the first half feels like the pre-Olympic break, and the second half feels like the post-Olympic break. So what you're watching here is that light on the top of the scoreboard. And if that light goes off before the foul is called, they will say shot clock violation. Take another look here. Watch that light. I think that is going to stand. It's really close.
It is really, really close.
And you can't see the official put his arm up, but in live action it felt to me, yeah, shot clock at 1, ball's out of her hands. I think that should stand. And it looks like it will.
Yeah, the referees today are doing such a good job, just being real thorough. But it did look like they had whistled right before the shot clock, and just a great cut by D-Rob, not giving up on the play, or Kelsey Mitchell both.
Well, if baseball's a game of inches, basketball can be a game of milliseconds. We have learned that here in the last couple of minutes. They viewed that Kelsey Mitchell shot was just late. That foul on Robinson was just in time. And the Sun really have to be kicking themselves as well. You had that foul on Danielle Robinson just before the half, which handed the Fever 3 points. And they're going to hand Indiana 2 free throws here with that shot clock winding down. In a close game, plays like that can make the difference. Danielle Robinson, an 89% free throw shooter, has hit all 4 of her free throws here today. She's got 12 points.
D-Rob just plays with so much poise and so much passion. She is really becoming the leader that this team needs, and just being able to recognize different situations, like when to score and when to pass and when to hit some free throws.
Connecticut continues with this 4 bench player lineup to close out the third. Charles on the drive, deflected by McCowan. Ball loose on the floor, and jump ball is the call. You can just see the confidence grow on this Indiana Fever team with every single play.
Yeah, this next half of the season, I think, is going to be looking very different than that first half. And even with this shot, the three-point shot is coming along. We're really encouraging it to come along, and as soon as it does, it's like flipping a page.
Jones and Tiffany Mitchell will tip it up. That's an easy win for Jones. Shot clock down to 7. Carrington, the mismatch on to McCowan. Carrington can't get that one to go. And Indiana, with a 6-point lead, can play for the last shot of the third quarter. Robinson driving on Heidemann. A lot of contact, no whistle. Carrington will get rid of it. And it's a 6-point lead for the Indiana Fever as we head to the fourth quarter. It's just the 3rd time this season the Fever have led as we head into the 4th. Indiana will try to cap off their 2nd win of the year when we return. Fever fans, we need your help. We want your feedback on tonight's streaming experience. You can visit feverbasketball.com/survey and Hope you are enjoying this Saturday afternoon of basketball as Jonquel Jones backing in on Breland, spins, blocked by Breland. Jones got her own rebound and feeds Brianna.
And the Joneses are really going to work right now, just being able to find each other. And Jonquel could have easily given up after that block, but just being able to see and trust her teammate to be open and knock that shot down. 13
points for Brianna Jones off of her career high on Thursday as Robinson on the drive, kick out Mitchell. Breland inside for Hattar, a dangerous pass there. And Jones able to take it away. There's a fine line. You like that high-low passing from the bigs, but Connecticut hasn't defended that well. It's a really difficult play. Just like that, Jonquel Jones will head to the line to try to put the Sun back within one possession. Jonquel Jones has 12 points, 7 rebounds, a couple of assists, a block, a steal. You know, the stat line that about 95% of players in this league would love, but it's felt like Indiana has kept her in check, at least so far. Connecticut with the first 4 points of the fourth quarter. Carrington nearly came up with a steal. What a play by Mitchell to fight back for it. And Carrington called for the foul. Tripping up Mitchell there. So it can be those kind of effort plays. They really add up at the end of the game. And it looked like Carrington had this. Bit of a sloppy pass there from Vivians. And Carrington was waiting for it. A defensive specialist, a rookie out of Baylor. Mitchell's cross court. Here's a Vivians three. She rattles it home.
Oh, she is really feeling it. She was a few steps out there in the NBA range right there. That was a great look, great pass, and she just knocked down that shot with so much confidence.
Back inside, Jones can't handle it. Turnover, Connecticut. Well, how many times have we said this? It just feels like Victoria Vivians is going to need to get one to go. Right. And she got one to go. And then threw in that last one from the WNBA logo.
Man, and she shot it as if she was just shooting a layup. And, you know, we talked a little bit earlier, whoever's going to get this three ball started in this game is really going to start taking off.
Indiana has hit 3. Connecticut just 1 3-pointer as Mitchell pulls up. Now Kelsey Mitchell and Jantel Lavender, the 2 starters on the bench. Heidemann, tough looking shot there. Charles can't get a 3 to go. And Connecticut now 1 of 11 from the 3-point line. In all 17 of Indiana's games this season, the opponent has made more 3-pointers than the Fever have. It's been their biggest challenge this year. And with under 8 minutes to play in the fourth, the Fever have made 2 more than Connecticut has. Robinson with a shot clock down to 6. Breland eyes it. Shot clock down to 3. Robinson will have to heave a deep 3. Robinson now 0 of 4 from out there today. Charles trying to take advantage in transition. Heidemann, that won't go. Oh, Jones able to battle for the offensive rebound. Carrington on the shot fake. Indiana touched that one last. What have you noticed defensively from the Fever around the perimeter?
One, I think just being able to scramble. You know, they're not doing everything right, which, you know, nobody expects, but the mistakes that they're making are really don't matter because everybody is just rotating and reading, and it's almost like everybody's just kind of on a string. As soon as that ball's in the air, they are moving towards that ball, and it just looks so good.
Connecticut certainly missing some shots they normally hit as Heidemann hits right there. Tisha Heidemann has hit both of Connecticut's threes today. Breland will fire a three. That's a tough look, and it's an air ball. And early in the shot clock there, Breland has hit a few this year. You wonder how long Kelsey Mitchell will remain on the bench. She's played 26 minutes. With Indiana up by 2, Tierra McCowan will check in. And Mitchell gets ready down there, so the answer not much longer. Jones battling with Breland, who comes up with her second block on Jonquel Jones of the Knights.
I'm really excited to see Big T back in this game, just because when she's in there, I feel like the offense kind of gets going. She might not be scoring much, but the confidence with everybody else around her, they like to go in and know that she's going to be able to clean up, if they were to shoot.
Bonner got pushed by Tiffany Mitchell. That is the second foul of the fourth quarter on Indiana. Fever scored 24 points in that third quarter. Been held to 3 here so far in the fourth. Kelsey Mitchell with Danielle Robinson, Tiffany Mitchell, McCowan, and Jessica Breland. Fever have started games with this lineup before, so it wouldn't shock you if Marion Stanley went with it for a while. Jonquel Jones continues to get herself to the free throw line. These will be attempts 8 and 9. And she looks to tie the game.
Now, any elite player knows that one of the biggest keys is making sure that they are able to get to that line, and she knows what's working, and she's definitely trying to capitalize on that, and just being able to get in there, go through the contact, and get to the line to finish the play.
Jonquel Jones is an 86% free throw shooter. She's missed 3 today. Fever were able to jump out to a brief 8-point lead in the third quarter. Kurt Miller's group has come back to tie it as Mitchell gets inside. Floater won't fall. Mitchell battling underneath. Jump ball is the call. We've seen a few of these situations here, Bria, lately. You go back to the game in Washington. You had a game here against Chicago where you were right around this point here down the stretch. Indiana will need to execute. They've struggled offensively in those situations, but you have to like the effort plays, the energy plays like that one. Kelsey Mitchell earning at least a chance to keep possession here.
Yeah, the energy, it's so easy, especially, being where they are right now in the league, just kind of mentally coming out here and still being able to play with a lot of energy and effort.
Jones steps into a 3. Jonquel Jones now 0 of 2 from out there. Connecticut's starting 5 has not hit a three-pointer here today. They are 0 of 7 from the perimeter. In fact, only one starter for either team has hit a 3. That was Tiffany Mitchell in the first half. Shot clock down to 5. Robinson, the hesitation, gets to the rim.
What a move. Just a nice little pretty in and out kind of, let her to sleep, and she was in there with one dribble. What a great move by D-Rob as Tiffany Mitchell comes up with this steal.
Mitchell has played really good defense on DeWanna Bonner here today. Bonner 2 of 6 from the floor. Fever looking to get Kelsey Mitchell going. Pull up 3. Mitchell connects.
Doing what she does best, Pat. Get it in there, recognizing the defense is off, and she's going to put that up and hit it 9 times out of 10. I love that by Kelsey Mitchell.
Heidemann, an open 3. Heidemann can't answer. The 10th offensive rebound for Connecticut as Bonner works on McCowan and spins it through.
It's a great move by DeWanna Bonner, just getting all the way to the basket and finishing through some contact.
Bonner makes plays that at times, I'm convinced she's the only player in the league capable of them.
I would agree. And she's been doing it for so long. She just keeps on getting better and better.
A 2-man game between McCowan and Tiffany Mitchell. Her shot off target. The length of DeWanna Bonner really is unmatched in this league. Everything working through Jonquel Jones. That's knocked away by Indiana. 4:17 remaining in this one. The Fever holding on to a 3-point lead. Well, Victoria Vivians is such a key to Indiana turning around their season here in the back half. And I've been saying it, she just needs to see one go through, and she did with this three-pointer. And then check out this deep bomb moments ago. Vivians with 8 points here tonight on 3 of 5 shooting, and has been that weapon off the bench that Marianne Stanley has been looking for this year. It's a 3-point lead here for Indiana. Just over 4 minutes to play, and Jones was held. No, they called a push-off, 3 seconds call on Connecticut. They said Jones was camped out in the lane too long there. You can see that Fever bench jump up to something that we don't get to sometimes hear, not being courtside anymore, but you know those benches are vocal. Robinson rims that one off, calling for those 3-second violations.
Yeah, it's so good being back in here and just kind of listening to the crowd get into it, and just after the season that they had last year, being in the wubble, I know that the Fever and the fans both are enjoying it.
Cowan there called for the foul. Tier's been asked to do a lot here today. That time got the switch on to Bonner. Jones is certainly an extremely versatile big to try to cover, and Brianna Jones for that matter as well. Step out there and make things difficult for the opposing defender. Luana Bonner with her 5th and 6th free throw attempts here today. She's into double figures with 11 points. Nearly half of her scoring has come from the foul line. How can the Fever execute down the stretch on this end of the floor? Indiana with just 8 points here so far in the 4th quarter. And this has been the challenge in tight games so far, offensive execution. Mitchell turns the corner, feeds McCowan. She draws the foul.
That was a great offensive sequence, just the screen, the re-screen, and Kelsey Mitchell being able to get in there and make that tough pass right to Big T, and a great way to draw the defense.
And you can get Tierra McCowan coming downhill, catching the ball, moving towards the rim. She's nearly an unstoppable force. She has had a terrific game today. Now 5 of 9 from the free throw line. This would be a big moment to knock down a pair. But she splits the 2. She split all 4 trips to the line here so far. Did have and one earlier in this game. Bonner leans in, got Breland in the air. She couldn't finish. As Mitchell pulls up, bam, hits for the mid-range.
Man, just what a great move by Joanna. She didn't get it. Nice little tap around. Kelsey Mitchell was able to run that break and do what she does best, and just be in such a great rhythm.
Breon January, Jasmine Thomas both still on the bench. Jones leans into a runner. And a loose ball foul on Connecticut. Fever have gone back up 4. Kelsey Mitchell with 12 points. This jumper has the Fever up 2. Join the Indiana Fever for the game on August 28th when we celebrate breast cancer survivors. Remember to wear pink to the game to help save lives and increase awareness and knowledge of breast cancer. You can text GIVE-SV to 53901. Always one of these special nights on the season. Indiana's got a 4-point lead, looking to snap a 12-game losing streak. Kelsey Mitchell putting the Fever up a couple of possessions with a mid-range jumper on Indiana's last look as Breland fakes, and Breland connects.
We see it. She's versatile. She's went in there and it almost looked like she couldn't finish with the contact. So what did she do? Stop and pop. It was a great read by Jessica Breland.
Indiana has gone back up 6. These two teams were tied at 55. And it has been a 14-4 run ever since I should say a 10-4 run ever since for Indiana. That foul goes against Mitchell and puts Connecticut into the penalty.
You know, I really got to give it up to Tiffany Mitchell here. She has really shown out on the defensive end. She was the one that's been guarding DeWanna Bonner, who is an all-star, to 12 points, and most of them coming from the free throw line. She's doing a great job on defense.
Bonner has hit half of Connecticut's free throws here today, 7 of their 14. And she's a perfect 8 of 8 from the line. Breon January has checked back in. Tisha Heidemann remains in for Jasmine Thomas. Robinson on the drive, gets inside, flips it up, it wouldn't stay down. And they'll say McCowan touched that last. A pretty good look there for Robinson.
And downhill speed is just, if you're not there early, then you're automatically beat.
Jones, Euro step, and traveling is the call. Breland stayed right with her. And this is something you did not have, Bree, on Thursday. Jessica Breland to play Jonquel Jones.
Man, and even with the change of direction, Breland was still there to contest. That's just that athleticism from the vet.
Robinson gets inside. Robinson, the left-handed finish.
What a great move by D-Rob. Just continues to force her way down there on the great move. She doesn't care who's down there, big, small, and everything in between. That was just a great move by the vet, D-Rob. Just continue to push her team to get better and better. Well,
you said it. She is going to force her way into the lane. And that is her priority 1, 2, and 3. A deft dribble there to create a little space. Get by Breonna Jones. Not an easy move there with everything happening so quickly. Danielle Robinson with 17 points has put the Fever back up 6.
She's just in one of those modes where, as a competitor, you know, you want to see your team win and do well, and even personally you want to see them do well, but she has completely just put this team on her back today and just able to get down there and do all the little things right. See that passion on her face.
So 1:16 left in a 6-point lead. Heidemann taking the role that would typically be Jasmine Thomas. Heidemann lines up a 3 and drills it. Heidemann has hit all 3 of Connecticut's threes. She is 3 of 7. The rest of the team is 0 of 9. And a clutch shot here to have Indiana's lead. A timeout taken here. There is Kevin Sparock, Michael Price, Jeffrey Smith. They've called a foul on Tisha Heidemann.
Oh, before the ball was into play.
And that is what they're looking at. Good call. Yep. They're looking at if that foul happened before the inbounds. I think here. There's the Heidemann 3.
Little slippage by D-Rob. Breland has to be able to recognize, especially since Heidemann is the hot shooter right now, just kind of getting those hands up, get the ball out of her hands, or even if she forces her to drive to the basket, she knows that the help is behind her.
You got a pretty clear look there. The ball was inbounded by the time that foul happened. Now that was Connecticut's foul to give. So any foul from here on out on the defensive end would put the Fever back into the penalty. Danielle Robinson has been so brilliant. Can she help put the finishing touches on this one? Robinson driving on Heidemann. Robinson flips it up and banks it home. Robinson has the Fever on her shoulders.
When she needs a bucket, she is the one to look to, as Heidemann again hits that big three. Just big plays after big plays. That kind of separates the goods from the greats.
Oh, goodness. After this game for 3.5 quarters was dominated by the defenses. Neither team could get the three ball to fall. Natisha Heidemann, Connecticut had hit 2 all game. So you look at this Robinson take. And right now, that 2 points is the difference in this game. Heidemann has hit threes on back-to-back shots, and that was not an easy look.
They're kind of trading baskets here, it looks like, just kind of going against each other right now. You know, and I really love, especially in our league, just to continue to grow the game. You want to see the fans get involved and that excitement from each player and the benches. I really enjoy how this game is going and playing out.
Now, you obviously want to get your best look possible here, but there is a way to time this perfectly where if you can get a good look and take it right around that 30-second mark, you could play 2 for 1, which could give yourselves a final possession if you were to need it.
Right.
So Fever still in the driver's seat of this one. That lead has been cut to 2. Now Mitchell struggling to get it in, and just does to Robinson. In the capable hands of Indiana's 10th year guard out of Oklahoma. Robinson, shot clock down to 6, lofts it in. McCowan turns, McCowan hits. Well, you talk about execution on the offensive end down the stretch. Indiana's been terrific. And in these moments where the Fever have struggled at times this year, they've scored now on 3 straight possessions in the final 2 minutes.
What a great pass into the post, and Tierra just being the force that she is. She turned around, nice little hook right over that left shoulder and put the ball in the basket. Big basket after big basket is what this Fever team needs to close this game out.
So a 4-point lead for Indiana, still 25 seconds remaining here. Do I need to say it? You need to blanket Heidemann. She's hit a couple of threes here lately.
Right.
Connecticut is typically a great three-point shooting team. They shoot it at 36% on the season. That's 3rd in the WNBA. They have numerous capable shooters. We've seen Heidemann. Breon January has been a great three-point shooter throughout the course of her career. Jonquel Jones, one of the best. Tawana Bonner, one of the best. You don't need the 3 here by any means if you're Connecticut. If you're the Fever, you really have to defend against it, as that three-pointer has kept Connecticut in the game here so far.
And especially what the Fever do not want to happen is a quick, easy 2 or an and 1 situation. You know, you want to make it as difficult as they can for this Connecticut team to score or even get the ball, let alone.
Second between the clocks. But Connecticut going to be looking for a bucket as quickly as they can get it. Thomas is in. Jones drives on McCowan, steps through. Jones, that won't fall. Picked up by Mitchell. No whistle. And Kelsey Mitchell will head to the line as Indiana comes up with another big stop on the defensive end.
Big stop. That's the key words right there. Just being able to get in there and not only clear the board, but kind of get it out away from the defense as well. Just after seconds is so important in this game.
That was played so brilliantly by Tierra McCowan. I think if a foul were to be called, it would have actually been on Jones. You saw the replay there. She went step for step with the woman who might be crowned MVP in a couple of months. This will still be a 2-possession game. And still 17 seconds remain as Mitchell hits both. Connecticut out of timeouts and running out of time. Heidemann blanketed by Breland. Heidemann has to lean in. Indiana just fine with that. And Breland, for the extra measure, comes up with the block. Robinson crosses center courts. And the Fever have snapped their losing streak and knocked off the Connecticut Sun.
What a game by the Fever. And not only the fans enjoyed it, I know I personally enjoyed it, just kind of watching them kind of come together in such an adverse situation. This was just all around a great win for the Fever. I thoroughly enjoyed this win.
The Fever get buckets on those last 3 offensive possessions that really mattered, and then come up with a couple of key defensive stops. Tierra McCowan waving to a home crowd who gets to watch their first win of the season from Indiana Farmers Coliseum. We'll be back to wrap